Today we're going to be canning salsa. I don't know if you've ever checked out my other videos from my guacamole or whatever, and just regular salsa. But today we have a lot of tomatoes coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and do some canning of my salsa, so I'll have it for the rest of the year. It is a little bit different than the fresh, like pico de gallo kind of salsa, just because we have to heat it up and put it in these jars. So I've got a huge bag of tomatoes right here from the garden, and I've also got a 5-gallon bucket down below. I've got my chicken bucket basically for the in pieces, anything that I don't like throwing in there, and then my cutting board and a very, very sharp knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wash these tomatoes off, make sure they're nice and clean, and then we'll go ahead and chop them up and get them ready for the chopper. Once I have a pretty good amount in my chopper, this right here is your 4-cut chopper right here. So I'm going to fill that up with tomatoes, and this comes in really handy. So I suggest if you don't have one of these, you really need one of these. It makes this job a whole lot easier and a lot more simpler. So when I get this all filled up with tomatoes, we will be back for the next process. Okay, so I've rinsed some of them off, and now we're just going to chop them up, put the good pieces in the bowl, and very thinly slice the tops off, and we'll just cut these up. You don't want them too thin, and you just want to keep and look at them and make sure that, there's no bugs or anything in there, of course. And I am going to use these yellow tomatoes, so I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there this year. I didn't have any last year, but I do have a little bit of yellow tomatoes, and I'm going to throw those in there. And like if you get some that are like really, tops are really bad, just go ahead and cut that bad stuff off. The tomato is still good. Now don't get me wrong, don't just throw it away because the top is bad, okay? But you do want, that good piece of tomato is still good. So just go ahead and just slice that up. Make sure there's nothing else bad in there. And then put that through the chopper. So very thinly. And then I'm going to fill this bowl up full of tomatoes. And then I'll stop, and then I'll use the chopper here. So we'll come back when I fill this up, okay? So here we have a full bowl of tomatoes, and I have my chopper, and I'm just going to go ahead and start chopping and get this all filled up. And when it's full, we'll go on to the next step. Okay, as you can see, I've got a huge amount of tomatoes in here. It's already full. I also have a strainer in the bottom of the sink here to collect all my seeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little strainer here. I'm going to put the tomatoes in here, rinse them with cold water, get all the seeds out of it. And anything that I don't like, I'm going to put it down in that strainer, because I don't want it to go down in the sink, because then you'll stop up your sink. So you don't want to do that. So keep your seeds in the strainer. Keep them in the strainer. You can throw them away. I give them to my chickens. They love them, so it doesn't go to waste. And then after we get done with this, we'll throw it in a bowl with a tea towel, so that I'll show you what to do after that. So we're going to just go ahead and rinse these off. Put this down in there. Put a little bit in here. About a cup or so at a time. Just enough to fill up that little strainer you got here. And then we'll use the cold water. And I'm just going to rinse them with my hand. And rinse them off. Now this is the secret to my salsa, basically, is I think the seeds give it that bitter taste, and I really don't like that taste with the seeds in it. And I don't really like the seeds anyway. And this actually makes for a really fresh salsa. a lot better than, I don't know, it just seems like it's too acidic maybe. I don't know. But when I do this, a lot of people can tell the difference, and it just makes it taste so much better. So we're just going to keep flipping it back and forth. If you find anything like any yellow scuds or something that you don't like, throw those away. And we'll do that. Okay, so I've got my strainer. I've got it here. Let's go again with another load of tomatoes. So I'm going to set off cold water. Anything you see that you don't like, just go ahead and get rid of that. Drop that down in there. Just give it a really good rinse. Try to get out as many seeds as you can. I'm just going to pop that into our tea towel. Just keep going until I've got all my tomatoes rinsed here. A little green speck, I don't want that. Got any of my green little stems here, so. I'm going to make sure that, you know, there isn't anything in there that you don't want. So. Okay. One little more to go. Just a little bit more to go. Set that back over there. If you have any cuts on your fingers or anything like that, you might want to put some gloves on, because the tomato juice does sting any cuts. So just be careful with that, just so you know. It does burn if you have any open wounds or something like that, or cuts on the fingers. Okay, so I will put that in my tea towel here. Nice and full. Okay, and this, I'm just going to add these remaining seeds to my chicken bowl. Like that. I'm going to take my tea towel. Okay. Empty the water out of that. All that water out. And then I'm just going to take that one ball. I'm just going to turn it. Keep turning it and turn it and turn it and turn it. And you want to make sure you get most of this water out. So you just want to keep turning it and squeeze it. Turn it and squeeze it. All right. And we're going to do this 3 more times, okay? So we're going to cut up some tomatoes, put it through the chopper. We're going to get 3 more balls like this. So it'll be a total of 4 balls. All right? Just want to keep squeezing. All that water out of it. There we go. As much as you can. And then whatever pan you're going to cook it in, you're going to set that big tomato ball in that pan. So we want 4 big tomatoes, big tomato balls. Okay, and then I'm going to keep repeating the process, and when we get 4 balls, I will be right back. Right now we've got our 4 balls of tomatoes. So I'm going to set those aside. And now we need to get our onion in there. So I've gone ahead and washed my chopper, and I'm going to fill this whole thing up with onions. So got a whole bunch of onions. So let's go ahead and get started with just chopping them up. And we're just going to put them right through that little chopper, just like we did with the tomatoes. So we're just going to keep peeling, going. I mean, this takes a lot of onions, and it takes a lot of tomatoes. Well, it takes more tomatoes than onions, but yeah. So when you get the onions and they're on sale, grab them up while you can. Of course, you want to use sweet onions in this. Don't use red onions or any other type of onions. You must have the sweet onions, because this is what's really gonna, set it off really well for your salsa, is to make sure that that you use sweet onions. So you just want to peel these, give them a quick slice, and then we'll just run them through this little chopper until it's all full. And that will be your 4 cups of onions. Okay. I know these balls look a little big for 1 cup, but when I put it into a measuring cup, it's a little bit over a cup, and that's fine. It's just a lot easier to measure it with this chopper. Just fill it up, and you've got your 4 cups. So anyway, once this is all filled up, we'll get started on putting all the seasonings in our pan. So just fill this up and add it to your pan. We'll be right back. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and start putting everything together. So we have our 4 balls of tomatoes, and we're going to add this whole thing of onions in here as well. Just be careful. It seems like I should have put it in a bigger bowl or stock pot or whatever, but it will be fine. It will all cook just fine. So, okay, all my onions are in there. Okay, rinse my hand off. Okay, and we can start adding our ingredients. So, the ingredients are, we're going to do a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So get that 1/4 cup out. And remember that you always want to pack your brown sugar. So stick my 1/4 cup in there and just kind of push it all in there. Get it smooth off. There you go. Nice. 1/4 cup brown sugar. Now you don't want to use white sugar, okay? It's not the same, so please don't use white sugar. It will be much sweeter if you do, so you please do not use white sugar as a substitute, okay? You must have brown sugar. Let's see. Next we have, I'm going to leave the jalapenos for last. I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. So 1 tablespoon. Okay. 1 tablespoon of cumin. 1 tablespoon of cumin. 4 tablespoons of parsley. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you could use cilantro if you like. Totally up to you. I don't have any cilantro, and if I was to have cilantro, if I were to have it, I would want to do it fresh. Dried parsley is fine for canning. Dried herbs are really good for canning. But I prefer to have fresh cilantro when I do cilantro. I don't know, it just tastes so much better fresh. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and do the parsley, and then I'm going to add my spice later for the heat. We got 1 tablespoon of garlic powder then. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. Okay. 3 tablespoons of garlic salt. You want to be careful with the garlic salt, so you want to measure it pretty good, okay? So 3 tablespoons. Right? Yep, 3 tablespoons. Don't go overboard on the salt. Okay. And then we want to do 8 tablespoons of lemon juice. No, 8 teaspoons, excuse me, 8 teaspoons of the lemon juice. So we have the lemon juice. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8 teaspoons of lemon juice. So make sure I got everything but my jalapeno, right? So lemon juice, garlic salt, garlic powder, parsley, cumin. Just gotta do the jalapeno juice and the diced jalapenos. Now, if you like a little bit of spice, I would just go ahead and just add your juice. Don't do any diced jalapenos. If you like it a little spicy, you want to do both. So we're gonna do, what did I say? I'm gonna do 1 cup of jalapeno juice. So we got half a cup here. Let's see what I got. I think I'm gonna do half a cup of the juice, and then I'm gonna add some diced jalapenos as well. So I'm gonna dice them up real quick. And I'm gonna go over to my cutting board here. Grab some. Probably should have done this a little bit beforehand, but I didn't. I'm just gonna take some out. Chop it up. That on there. Now, if you wanted to wait, you could wait until it's nice and warm and soupy, and then add your heat to it, and that way you'll get a better, you'll know better exactly what it's going to taste like as far as the heat wise goes, because the longer it sits on the jalapeno, the hotter it's going to be. So let's go ahead and get our spoon. We want to get a slotted spoon for this, and we're going to turn our oven on, our stove top on, and we're just going to put this on medium high for now, and we're just going to let this start cooking, and we're going to just check it, make sure it's not burning on the bottom, and we're just going to keep stirring it up, and it's going to become like a soup basically, and it's really thick right now, as you can see. And I just got to be careful when I stir this up, but you'll see. Just want to keep stirring it just to keep it from burning. And it is going to cook down pretty much. It's going to turn into like a little soup, and then we can start filling it up in the jars. So while this is cooking and coming down to a soup texture, I will go ahead and get my jars ready. And my jars are already clean, but I'm going to rinse them and heat them up in the microwave for a couple minutes. Take about I don't know however many jars my microwave will use, but I kind of cheat. I don't put them in the dishwasher again after I already washed them. They're washed. So I'm just going to give them a good rinse. Make sure there isn't any dust or anything like that. No dust, I don't know to say, but they've been sitting in my cupboard. So I just want to give them a quick rinse. Kill anything, just put them in the microwave for a couple minutes. That way, if there's anything, you can just make sure that ain't nothing, in them or anything like that, and check the jars on the top and make sure they're not cracked or anything. So, okay, let me go ahead and set this aside for a minute and just let this cook. I'm just going to come back and check it, make sure it's not burning, and I'm going to go get my jars ready. All right, we'll be back. Okay, as you can see, it's hot, it's boiling, it's nice and runny. It's what you want before you put it in your jars. So I'm going to put my jars are in the microwave. I'm putting them in there for 2 minutes. Oops, not timer. Start. There you go. So put my jars on for 2 minutes. And then we can go ahead and get a ladle and start putting them in those pint jars is what I'm going to put mine in. Usually I would use like a quart jar, but because we're getting older, we don't eat as much in one setting, so I'm just going to go ahead and do them in pint jars this year. And normally this would be like maybe 4 quarts, usually what it makes. So it's usually 2 pints to a quart. So I'm going to do these in my pressure cooker. I'm not going to do a water bath. I am going to put them in the pressure cooker for 15 minutes. And let's see, let me go ahead and get my jars out of here, out of the microwave, and get my funnel and start loading up my jars. Okay, I have my pressure cooker here. I have the plate down on the bottom down there. I'm going to set all my jars down in there. The lids are on. Okay, lids are on tight. The jars are pretty hot. Now I am handling it with my hand. I know that they're hot, but I can manage the heat. You might not be able to manage that heat, so use a towel to tighten them. Let's see. And I think I have 8 here. 8 pints. That's what I got. There we go. And then we're going to fill the water up to, we're not going to cover them like we would do in a water bath. This is a pressure cooker, so I want to fill the water down here, probably to about right there. That's as much water as you want to put in this bottom of this bowl here. So I'm going to use hot water. Because my jars are hot, I want to use hot water. You want them to be at the same temperature that the jars are. So if you were just cooking normally or something like that, it wouldn't matter, but because we're canning and the liquid is hot, we're going to use hot jars here. And if you look in the ball book, it says, to use, if it wasn't hot, it would be called a cold pack. And this is a hot pack, what they call a hot pack, because you're packing hot food into the hot jars. That's hot pack. If it wasn't hot, it would be called cold pack. So that's how you know. Anyway, got my water in there, and I'm just going to use my arrows on my lid. There you go. I'm going to turn this on high, and I'm going to put my 15-pound gauge on top of that, and we'll let this get up to temperature. This little valve here is going to rise, and the pressure in there is going to raise, and then this will start going back and forth, jittering like that. And when it starts doing that, then you can set the timer for 15 minutes. Once the 15 minutes is done, just pull everything off of the stove, release this, just tilt it, and all the steam will go. Just turn your vent on, and then let the steam go. The steam will go, and we'll be back for all of that. So I will be back when we're ready to set that timer. Okay, so see it's sputtering here, and the valve is popped up. So we should set that timer for 16 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, so the timer went off. Turn the stove off. Take it off of the heat. And now I'm just going to let this release the steam here. I'm just going to take the top. I'm just going to tilt it. Let all the steam go through the vent. And when that valve goes down, then we can open up this lid. So don't open the lid until that valve goes all the way down. I'm talking about this one right there. When that one goes all the way down, then you can open it up. Okay, when it does, we'll be right back. Okay, the valve is down. I don't know if you can see the valve on that end is down. Let's see. This valve right here is down. So pull this off now. No more steam. So now, since there's no steam coming out, we can just turn the lid. What you want to do is make sure that the lid is not facing you. It's facing away from you. When you open it up, tilt it away from you, so the steam does not go in your face. Okay? And then one by one, we'll pull these out and stick them on a towel, and you want to put them upside down on a towel. Okay? Pull them out. Grab your hot pad, tongs. And we'll take them over to here. And I will take this. We'll go all the way over to our countertop here. And we will place, and then we'll put them upside down on a dry towel. Let those totally cool down and seal. And then tomorrow we're going to take off the ring, and we will give them a quick wash and dry, just to get any debris off of the underneath this lid down here. And we'll leave the seals on, just the ring you want to take off, and we'll finish that up tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day. They've all cooled down. I turned them upside down when they were hot, just to let the seal on here seal for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the rings off. And I want to go ahead and wash these up, because you don't want to leave any residue on here. If you do, when you put it in your pantry, it will mold. So you don't want that on your lids anyway. And you can always check when you look in here, you can see the lid itself. And if that lid underneath inside that glass gets black, you definitely don't want to use what's in this jar. So you want to make sure that all your lids are sealed. So we're going to remove the rings. All your lids are sealed. Give them a quick wash, and then go ahead and label them, and then stick them in your pantry. So that's what I'm about to do here. I'm just going to take a washcloth. I have a little bit of soapy water here. Just some regular Dawn dish soap. And we're just going to clean those jars up. Sometimes when you're canning, the residue, some of those jars will spill out, and you get this residue on your jars, and that can mold. So we're just going to take those, rinse them off nice and clean, and then you're just going to dry them up. Dry it with a towel here. Let's see. Different towel. Give me a different towel here. Okay, so just go ahead and dry them up, and we're just going to label them Salsa. And let's see, I don't even know if you can hear my chickens outside. They're pretty loud today. Roosters are going mad. Anyway, so we've got Salsa. And I'm just going to put the month and the year basically on it. So, you know, it being September and all, just going to write the month and the year. And that's pretty much all. You don't really have to get too specific on it. These usually only last me a year. So, I mean, I'll be eating these in the winter time. and that's mostly, they'll be gone. So I'll have enough to get me through the winter, and usually I make maybe, 12 quarts, but we didn't even go through that last year, so I didn't even make that much. So I've done them in pints this year just because quarts seem to, we eat like maybe 3/4 of the quart and then that's it. So I think it would be best for us just to go ahead and go to the pints now. So that's all you need to do is just wash them up, make sure they're sealed, label them, and stick them in the pantry. Well, I hope you learned something new, and thank you guys for watching, and love you guys.